It's Ken here with MrTruck.com, and for this video series I'm partnering with Transwest Truck Trailer RV north of Denver, and what we're trying to do is cover trailering tips. We know how dangerous trailers can be or how intimidating they can be, so we want to give you some advice, some tips, some special features that may make it easier for you to get used to it and do all the fun stuff. Well, this is Kent with MrTruck.com, and I partnered up with Transwest north of Denver, and we're trying to give you some trailering tips. Today we're going to cover a lot about where to put your load on a trailer, load spacing, and how to properly load it for get rid of sway and other problems you might have. And we're going to start off too with a tool that we can use. Oh yeah, this is CJ up here. He's the big trailer expert here at Transwest, and he knows everything about trailers.
To look at our inventory, you can go to transwest.com and then just click horse trailer inventory. If you want to give us a call, anybody on the sales team can help you out. That number is 303-684-3400.
But anyway, so we're going to be also using some WaySafe products. This one here is their new one that came out for the puck system on these newer trucks, on the heavy duties. This is a 2 5/16 ball, a 30,000 pound load limit of trailer, and it'll go 7,500 pound tongue weight. And you can see the dial there. So it's sitting on 0 now, and we're going to put it in the truck, and then we're going to back up to a trailer and then see how much this weighs the tongue weight to be. We're going to be doing a lot of things today. It's going to be a really cool day, and we're going to learn how you can be safer and where to put that load is what today's all about. So come join us. So now we're going to take the WaySafe ball and put it in the puck system on this ram. And it'll fit right in there. It's so cool. And now it's locked in place. That is awesome. And that will go to 30,000 pound trailer. So now we're going to back up to a trailer and watch that scale. We're at 0 right now. But this is so cool because that's an important part about loading your trailer and getting the load level where you want it, where it should be, so you've got a good stable load and you're not swaying and you're not wearing out the truck axles. If it's loaded too far forward, you got that problem, wearing out the truck brakes on the back. Too far back, you got a sway problem, and then you're going to be looking at a lot of ditches. So we want to get that load balanced right, and we're going to use this scale too. So now we're going to go hook up the trailer. Is it going down? You seen that scale?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now got the WaySafe in there and hooked up here. It looks like it's about 3,800 pounds of tongue weight. And this is a living quarter, so it's going to be a little heavy on the front. So we got 3,800 pounds of tongue weight, 3,800 pounds. Now we put the WaySafe gooseneck ball in there, the puck in there, and CJ backed up. We got it all connected, and it's showing 3,800 pounds. That's how much tongue weight you have. Now this is a living quarters, and living quarters are nose heavy. They need the horses to have some kind of a balance in it. And this one here, this is a 3-horse. Was that a 9-foot short wall?
This is a 10'8" with a slide out.
Oh, okay. So you got a lot of weight in the front, and Cimarron likes to do that 28% tongue weight. So on that would put this at 32, and we got 38 on it now, 3,800 pounds of tongue weight. So we need some horses in the back to get this back to that 3,200 pound level. And that's what we're going to talk about, where you put the weight. Now these axles are quite a ways back. Most horse trailers are 1/3 and 2/3 or a little past that, where RVs are almost in the middle like a teeter-totter. So they do that with less tongue weight, so you haul everything to half ton, which is insane. These are more realistic. This is what commercial trailers do. This is what horse trailers do. So on this one, with the 3-horse in the back, and we know we need to take some tongue weight off to get it right, because that's what you want. You want to stay You know, a bumper pulls 10%. They're saying goosenecks 15%, but that's baloney. Goosenecks are really 20%. That was something the SAE and all these other truck companies, they hashed it out, and I was totally against 15%. But when the way I look at it, when it's snowing out, when you got bad road conditions, you want more tongue weight. Because I've seen stuff with light tongue weight totally lose traction and go off the road. So when it's snowing outside, I definitely do 20% or more. In the living quarters, we're trying to balance this out. So what do you think, CJ? Where would you, the biggest horse in the back, or how would you get the load on this to where it's level and properly using all the brakes and all the bearings?
Well, typically, like on this trailer here, since this one's a 3-horse, we're going to have the capability to put 3 head on here. So most horses, you know, we kind of just use, our kind of rule is maybe about 1,200 pound average. Let's just say 1,200 pounds.
Now is that horse and tack or just horse?
That's horses.
Just horses,
and
okay.
then we usually say about another 100 pounds worth of tack. Now that's miscellaneous, you know, that's 3 saddles, that's some buckets, that's, you know, I mean, just all our miscellaneous items that we put on these trailers.
Right.
So, you know, on this one here, then it's also, we got to think about the animals. I mean, that's where we kind of come into play too, because the worst part of a ride is behind the axles for the animals. So again, somebody's going to have to be in that back stall, and they're going to be on that back axle or behind it. But on this one here, I mean, you know, it's kind of where do you want to put them, and where do you want each one of them to ride? Are you using the first stall as additional storage, and maybe putting 2 head on the back? So there's a lot of different variations that we can do as
well,
far
that's
as
cool.
load on this trailer.
So the farther forward you are, the better the ride, huh?
It is the better ride, yes. And on 3 horses, that's a little bit of a struggle because we're dealing with the 3, you know, compartment stall.
Right.
Well, then where do we put axles where we're not interfering with the living quarters? So on those living quarters, there's kind of some give and take.
So if you did want to use one of the stalls for storage, it'd have to be the front one.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you got all those compartments on the side. You got a hay rack on top. You got generators. There's a lot to look at on
There's
this.
a fuel cell back there, so we can fill that up with gasoline for the generator. You know, our tack's in the back corner of this.
That's
so
good.
as we load stuff up, it will help balance out the trailer.
Well, that's good. And we'll talk about that in a toy hauler next, because it's the same similarity where you got an empty rear end until you load it full of toys. And here you got a little heavy tongue weight till you load it up. And people don't usually drive these things empty. You know, that's the whole purpose of the trailers, to do something, haul the horses. So that makes a lot of sense. So that's, I guess there's really no way to figure out, like even your living quarters, you're going to want it to be light. You're not going to want to put a bunch of water jugs in there or great big T-bone steaks or whatever might weigh it down. You got to think about that. You don't want to overload the living quarters. When we're talking about load, I also want to talk about tires. Now, these are 14-ply tires. That's what I like, and that's what I've done on my trailers. If I've got 6-ply on a little trailer, I go to 8-ply. If I've got 10-ply, I go to 14-ply. And the heavier tires, the less problem you're going to have with blowouts and all that. Because a horse trailer, you get a blowout, you tear a fender off and clearance lights. It's horrible. Now these are what came with the tire with the trailer when it was new. 14-ply, nice tires. And these are STs. STs is a trailer tire. I think that's baloney too. I think the ones come off your truck should go on your trailer. That's how I used to do it. Now the sizes are so far off, you can't do it. But I'm a CDL, so I have to be legal, which means I have to put ST tires on. Except for if we can find some Bora tires. You guys sell the Bora tires and wheels, and those are 14 plies and 16 plies, but these are 17s or 16s?
These are 16s.
16s, that's a real common trailer tire. Now the Bora tire and wheel that they sell here at Transwest, it's a 19.5 low profile, so it'll fit in the same spot as 16 does. And you get 14, 16 ply, and they're commercial tires. So they don't say ST, they're commercial. So it means you can go at the speed limit on those. These, the original STs were rated at 65 miles an hour. Now they've come up, but it'll say that stamped on the sidewall of your trailer tire if it will go 75. That's the new thing, they're speeding them up. But when you have a commercial tire like Bora, you don't need to worry about it. But on a regular trailer tire, these STs, you got to think about it. But that's so cool, and that's a big part of keeping these rascals rolling, is having that heavier tire on. I've noticed, I'll tell you the story last time on U-Haul. U-Haul, they have trailers everywhere. And they don't have people running around fixing flats, and they don't give you a spare. What they've done is they go through Continental, and Continental, you know, most of them are made in China, so I don't like Continental tires. They have them made in the U.S. just for U-Haul, and they're made heavier, they're made thicker, they're higher rating, and they don't blow out tires. They don't have to fix tires, and that's a good way to do it. So I've learned that from them. Get a heavier tire and you're going to have less problems. So that's what I always recommend. And this is 7,000 pound axles. We took all the number, that's where we came up with a tongue weight of 3,200. And we're at 37, so we're going to make sure we get some fat horses in this one. but that's part of it. If you can get everything leveled out, your suspension will last longer, your brakes will work better, your bearings will work better. So that's what you want. And level and gooseneck's a little easier to do. We'll talk about weight distributing on a bumper pull. But this is a cool trailer. Did you want to tell us any more about the trailer?
Yeah, one of the, and you hit on it, tires to me, I mean, that's the last thing any of us want to be, have an issue with, is going down I-25 in traffic and dealing with the blowout, pulling over. We got horses on board, you're trying to get somewhere. So I really don't like, skimping on tires is not the way to go. I like to change in pairs, if not all the way around. The other thing too is when I'm building a trailer for a customer, that's one of the very first things I look at as an upgrade for them. Is I say, hey, this is standard, but I want to bump you up to maybe a higher ply. Maybe you want to look at a different size based on the weight capacity. I mean, the manufacturers always do a good job on saying, this trailer is capable to carry this much load based on the axles. Do we need to look at upgrading axles? But tires are one of the very most common things that I really push to customers and say, hey, for a minimal amount of money, we're starting you off with a better set of tires to begin with. And then when we deal with customers manufacturers like Cimarron, these are nitrogen filled and balanced right from the factory. So that's just another little added bonus.
Well, that's good. And you guys sell Centromatics. You guys can put Centromatic wheel balancers on here if you wanted to. All those upgrades. And two on this, this summer has been crazy in Colorado. We've had 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having a blowout in the side of the road or even in town? And now you're sitting still and you got a blowout and you got to spend whatever, a half hour, an hour to fix it. The horses are in there, the doors are down, the air is not flowing through. They're cooking in there. That's why you want these fiberglass roofs, and that's why you want better tires, because that can happen. I don't know how the guys do it in Florida and in Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico. How do they survive? Their tires survive. But another thing too, I mean, you can get that put on there, but I use Tucson tire pressure monitors, which is the same pressure monitor that Toyota and Nissan use in their trucks. And so that goes inside the tire, and then that tells you in the cab your air pressure and your temperature. And you can set your warnings. I love that. We're going to talk a little more about that later because they got a new one out called Spaceballs. But that is so important to be able to know what's going to happen before it happens. If your heat goes up, it's a tire problem with pressure or a blowout or a low tire or a hole in the tire. If your heat goes up but your tire pressure stays the same, then you've probably got a brake issue or a bearing issue. So I always like to have just as many things as I can helping us. But yeah, they're so cool. Nice trailer. So it's even got a escape door and everything on this puppy.
Exactly.
This is like the one you want. But cool. They can always come here and buy these from you.
That's right.
Well, now we're going to go on to the next trailer. Okay, now this is another trailer we're taking. It's very similar to a living quarters. It's a toy hauler. Same kind of thing. People live in the front, the toys live in the back. And this is a cool one. Why does this have spread axles? Explain how that works.
So spread axles have become kind of popular over the years. The trailer just pulls a little bit better. We're getting the toe that's similar to a triple axle without having 3 sets of axles and putting more pressure as we're turning a triple around in tight scenarios. Some people like the looks of them because it's a little bit different, but there is some benefit to it. It does help with weight distribution. By us spreading them out, it takes away a little bit more of that tongue weight that we were dealing with.
Oh, cool. So back here, there's less weight per axle than it is if they're close together. That's why semis do it. A lot of semis have, they're like a 9-foot bridge or whatever they call it. That is too cool. Now this one, I mean, how big is are these called short walls on living quarters on these?
Yeah, this one, we're used to calling them short walls in the living quarters world because usually all of our horses are on a slant.
Yeah.
This one's kind of a square. So we have a square garage back here. We have a 16-foot garage with a 13-foot living quarters. No slide out on this one.
Okay, that's cool. And you got beds and couches up there, and you probably got beds and couches back here too.
We got sofas that fold down into beds. They'll fold back up into a sofa, so you can put a table there, eat some dinner, play some cards, whatever you want.
Oh yeah, I love the way these are set up with toy haulers, so much like a living quarters. And this is an all aluminum trailer.
Yes, sir.
And you got quite a few of these. These are called Freedom Trailer. And I don't know if you can see up there some, but there's a big wind spoiler, which means it's the fastest trailer in the world. And what do you have? You have gas tanks back here too.
Yeah, so we've actually got a fuel cell behind the axles. So that will also help us when we go to, when we're balancing this load, we have to take that into consideration because we have the capability to put fuel behind this, so adding more weight.
Sure. And this one, these are 7,000-pound axles.
Correct.
And so our percentages are pretty close to what this is versus living quarters, maybe a little lighter on the front.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. The spread comes into play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be probably just a touch less than that other one we looked at.
And that's what's so important, is to get your trailer level, get your trailer evenly spaced as much as possible. On this, you know you're going to have more in the nose. And, you know, that's what you got to deal with. If you have ATVs or side-by-sides, put the heaviest one in the back, just like you do with the horses. You know, and you got a little more room back there to move stuff around, which is really cool. And this has got all the vents, too, so you can blow all that gas smell out of there. I like that. You want to open the back door and show us what's in back there? Freedom from Cimarron Trailers. These are built like a tank, like all Cimarron trailers are. Big garage door. Now come around here, son. You can see one couch folded up, one couch laid out, and that's where all the toys go. And you and I have taken one of these to the mountains, and we had a couple ATVs in there. We went all over the place, even backed this down a mountain. It's awesome. All the cabinets, you see the cabinets up on top. You see all the places to hold racks for your boots or your helmets or whatever you're putting in there. Shelf over there is a fold-down shelf. This back one here folds down, doesn't it?
That's correct. Gives you a little bit of a workbench.
And that's cool. And there's that vent I was showing you from the outside. It's down here. And you also got a vent up front in the corner. That's what I do, is I open that vent and I let this vent go out so that the airs can kind of blow the gas fumes out. That's
Pretty cross breeze.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And then you got this track. I don't know if you can see this track, son, but there's track all over in here to tie down your toys. You can move those O-rings wherever you need to them so everything's secure. That's a nice way to have it. On mine, I only have a bunch of D-rings, and never have enough D-rings to tie them all down.
Yeah, this you have complete flexibility of setting your anchor points basically wherever you like.
Oh, cool. Well, this could be a box stall for a horse, huh?
It could be. Yeah.
Probably not going to happen. Okay, now we're going to go to the bumper pulls.
Don't go away, MrTruck.tv. We'll be right back.
Well, now we're on to the bumper pull trailer. This is a Logan 3-horse, and it weighs how much?
We're right about 3,000 pounds empty.
Okay, and it shows about 300 pounds on the weigh safe on the scale. So that's about right, we're 10%. Yep. So this with nothing on it is where you want it to be. So now, this is a brand new Logan trailer. Let's go over here and look at these axles. Okay, so looking at the back of this, I know that the back end of it, now this is a 3-horse, I'm sure there's a big tack room back there.
Actually, this one's completely open in the back.
Really?
Yep.
So is that a box stall, or what's that for the Colts? What do you do back there?
No, I mean, we've got it towards a standard slant load, but this one has a telescoping divider on the back, so if maybe you are hauling something that needs it to be a little bit more open, a little bit more inviting for them, maybe you do want to throw a Colt on or something on the back, or a lot of people will double this as a toy hauler as well.
Oh, there you go.
So without that rear tack, it opens it up.
That is too cool. I like that. So this one, you know, we're still going to be a little nose heavy because the horses are kind of leaning toward the front.
Yep.
So you want to put some extra weight, whether it's hay or whatever it is back there, to balance you out. And good looking Logan. What is this, one of those hot shot things? Bullseye. It's a bullseye. So that's cool. Now, do these have nitrogen in their tires?
These do not.
Okay.
That's on our Cimarron brand.
All right, and even if you do get nitrogen, you can put, if you can't find it on the road somewhere, you can just put oxygen in if you want to change it later. So that's what I've done on my trailers too. But this is cool. So that's then these axles look like the Dexter rules, 2/3 and 1/3. What do you think? How balanced are we with the axles?
Yeah, I think we're where we want to be based on this. And as we're loading, probably what I would do is you know, try to look at all the horses that you're going to be loading. Obviously our tack's going to be at the front. We don't have that rear tack, so again, how we're actually loading these horses is going to be very important.
Oh sure, that means that big butt quarter horse goes in the back.
Correct.
Well, that's cool. I like that. Makes a lot of sense. It's got a lot of clearance on this trailer because these are torsion axles, and torsion axles only flex like 2.5 inches, not much, and they actually are independent, front to back, left and right, totally independent. So like if this was a toy hauler or a construction trailer with leaf springs, you'd have a divider there, a triangle plate, and that would help see how level you are. So how do you see with this? Is it the distance from the tire to the fender? How do you know that the axles are riding similar in weight?
Yeah, the big thing to me is always trying to load on a nice even surface, because, and then also judging the truck. I always try to start off with the truck and trailer somewhat level, because by the time if we load correctly and that weight distribution comes into play, everything should stay nice and level. You know, I'll see it time and time again. Look, I'm not the type, I don't have a big jacked up truck by any means, but I see some of these newer trucks with older trailers, or people that do put lift kits or bigger tires on trailers, and what it's doing is it's pushing that nose of that trailer, that tongue up. Well, then it's putting more pressure on that back axle.
And the back axle,
You know, a lot of manufacturers are putting right on their spec sheets that they are not warranting axles. It is the customer's responsibility to know the weight capability and loading correctly, because they're seeing, you know,
crazy stuff,
crazy stuff, overloading the axles, or like I talked about, I mean, I saw a prime example. I was at the fuel station and there was a big jacked up Ford pickup, and he had a backhoe on the back of it, but the truck was jacked up so high that the trailer was running like this.
Oh.
All that weight was on that back axle.
Oh, I know, and I see that on goosenecks so much, and it's just scary. But yeah, that is pretty cool. But so on something like this, you get to trailer load level, the truck load before you load it, then you're kind of judging how much ground there is underneath each running board.
Yep, exactly.
So that's how you know if it's level.
And some people will even walk by with a tape measure and put on it, and you know, try to get a good gauge on where they're at. But I always feel like if you're starting off on level ground anyway, and your trailer's set up to your truck, usually you only have to do it once. I mean, you know, my trailer's at home, they're set up for my truck. I probably don't have to make any adjustments ever again. Now, when I load, then that comes into play about how I load it with actual weight on the truck and trailer itself.
Well, cool. Well, folks, that's what we did, a bumper pull and two goosenecks, and talking about where you want to put the load. So you have a nice level trailer and everything's working, all your bearings, all your brakes, the truck and the trailer. And now there's more coming up. We're going to take a trailer and we're going to unload it wrong and just show you how crazy the sway is and how you can correct that sway coming up next. So now we're going to move our ballast side by side back to the end of the trailer, clear back here, so that we can make a pendulum, and that pendulum will show sway. We just pushed the side-by-side, weighs 1,200 pounds, clear the end of the trailer, so we're making a pendulum. So it should work like a grandfather clock, swing all over. And then I'll show you how to control it with the brake controller. You don't hit your foot brake, you hit the independent brake controller for the trailer, and that way it'll straighten the snake out. So it's swaying, you hit the brakes, and it drags you straight. That's what semis do. That's what we do in the mountains, we do it on curves. So we're gonna get up to speed and see what this pendulum does, see if I can correct it with the brake controller. 3 cameras running, and we don't have any sway control on here, or even weight distributing with sway control. We're not using anything, we just want to see what the trailer does. At some point, it'll start swaying. Oncoming traffic, we're going 55, 60. I did a little help there, starting to sway. Back end's moving. And then to correct it, I just grabbed the brake controller and I hit the trailer brakes independently. And that controls it. Back there. And this kind of sway situation can happen to you if you're getting crowded on the road, if you're on ice and snow, if you're on a curve. A lot of reasons to sway. A lot of it too can be loaded. If you're loaded wrong, if you're loaded butt heavy, you're going to get some sway. I'm going to hit the brake controller, straighten it out. Yeah, if you got weight to the end of the trailer, you got a lot of problems. You can create sway. You create it by traffic, it can be created by snow and ice. A lot of things to get that trailer going crazy back there. And all you got to do to correct that, because it's getting wilder and wilder the faster I go, you grab that brake controller. You seeing my brake controller?
Yeah.
I know it's way down hard to see, but I'm hitting just the brake controller, not the foot brake, and it's going right into control. So that's how you control sway with your brake controller without going crazy and flying off the road and jackknifing. Is you're controlling the snake by straightening it out, by just breaking the rear part of the snake, and that straightens it right up. Okay, we always keep testing these Tucson tire pressure monitoring systems, and we're working on the balls, we're working on the valve stem ones, all the sensors. But anyway, there's one thing I want you folks to understand is how this all works. These Tucson pressure sensors, tire pressure sensors, tells you pressure and the heat. It goes clear up to 203 pounds of pressure, and then the heat it tells you a lot, you know, it's bearings, brakes, and all that. So it's very important to have those temperatures. You know, trailer tires is a big deal. You got problems, especially 100-degree weather like we're having this year. You know, you're gonna blow tires, and the tires are gonna blow. Take out your fender, take out your clearance lights, and then you're gonna sit there on the side of the road fixing your tire while your horses get hot. Sun coming down 100 degrees, no doors open and no fan. It's horrible, and I see it happen all the time. And so I go to Higher Ply Tires and I go to Tucson Tire Pressure Monitoring System. You see me talk about this before. They got so many options. You can go with bands on the Alcoa wheels. That's such a small hole. You can go with the tire pressure monitoring, where you have a valve stem and the relay below it, the transmitter. And then you can do the same transmitter on a band. And now the new one, I call them space balls, but they're actually they're tire pressure monitoring from Tucson ball sensors, like a ping pong ball, rubber coated, and you put this in your tire. You crack open the bead, throw it in there, and it bounces around, goes right for a little while, and then once you get up to speed, it just sticks to wherever it's at. And it gives that signal, same signal that these tire pressure monitors do, where it goes back to your repeater on your nose or of your trailer, and then into your cab on the monitor. And that tells you tire pressure and heat. So you know if the tire pressure is normal and heat goes up, you may have a brake or a bearing problem. So you know about this stuff before you spend $400 on your trailer repair. So that's a big deal, is not having to, you know, wait till something breaks down to fix it. You know ahead of time what's going on. This gives you special alerts before. If the tire pressure is too high, it goes off, beeps and flashes. Too low, it beeps and flashes. Same way with heat. Too high, it flashes. Too low, it flashes and beeps. So it's awesome. And this will save you a lot of money. You know, the price of a tire will pay for one of these puppies. And why would you not want to know what's going on with the trailer tires? You know, it's a terrible, terrible breakdown when you blow a tire. You know, not just a flat, but you actually blow the tire. And this will tell you if you've got a tire with a nail and it's going to go down, you need to change it. So this will save you all kinds of hassles, money, time, all of that. And you'll be happy you did it. I think this is the first accessory I'd put on a trailer. This is Tucson RV Tire Pressure Monitoring System. It's available at MrTruck.com.